What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot right behind me here. I think it's one of the best mid-size SUVs to get in the mainstream market, and I'm going to show you exactly why I think that. Let's get started. Starting up front, we have the crystal black pearl color, which is an additional cost in Canada, but we only have about 5 color options in total, with the free one being the base gray paint job. I love the boxy look of the all-new Pilot. I think it's much better than the previous generation in my opinion. Every trim does get standard LED headlights, and they also get standard LED fog lights as well. They have a nice, unique, slim profile. It's capped off, and you know, the premium looking grille, the front bumper overall, it just has a very great stance, and it looks very dominant on the road. And it kind of reminds me a little bit, I know it's a far-fetched, but it reminds me a little bit of the new Escalade, just with the flat end and the thin and narrow kind of headlights. But overall though, I think the redesign looks great. The side profile has that traditional SUV look. I like the longer hood design. I think it's got some nice simplistic lines as well. And since we have the touring trim, we get the biggest wheels coming in at 20-inch, sitting on 255 series tires. 18-inch rims is what you'll find on the Trail Sport and the EXL trims, and the Trail Sport I believe also has 265 series tires, and they're more off-road capable. But even the side profile, once again, it fits in with that unique kind of minimalistic, simplistic styling that Honda is going for. The rear end is something I hated when I first saw the pictures, to be honest with you, of the new generation, but I can gladly say it's grown on me, and it's not as bad looking in person as I thought it would be. We don't get LED, full LED brake lights. We do get, LED running lights and brake lights, but we get halogen turn signals and reverse lights. Surprisingly, no LEDs, which, I'll be honest, kind of disappointing. But on the bright side, no pun intended, it is cheaper replacements at least, because halogen bulbs are much, much more cheaper to replace, obviously, than if your LED taillights were to stop working, for example. So that's a positive, right, for the long-term reliability. No visible exhaust, but there is a silver exhaust trim around the lower portion of the bumper. And overall, I do like the rear end. I like how Pilot is spelled out between the taillights. I think the taillights could have been a little bit different, but overall, I think the entire exterior is a win in my opinion, as it looks very, very aggressive and sleek and modern and simplistic. Once you open up the power tailgate, storage does depend on which trim level you get, but the top trim Touring and the Black Edition do have the most, just by a little bit though. It's not a huge difference. Behind the third row, you have 22 cubic feet. Put down the third row, and behind the second row, you're going to get 60 cubic feet. If you put down the second row as well, and just have the front 2 seats up, you're going to get 112 cubic feet of storage. So a lot of space that families are still, used to with their older Pilots. They're going to find the same thing over here as well. So it's nice and roomy. Opening up the hood, you are going to get a brand new engine. And thankfully, it's not a turbocharged 4-cylinder like we're seeing spreading across the lineup of other family vehicles. This is a 3.5 liter V6. It's an all-new engine. I know the V6, the 3.5 V6 was the previous engine as well, but this is a new one as per Honda. It makes 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. It's, of course, all-wheel drive, which is standard, at least here in Canada. I think the United States might have a LX front-wheel drive version, but I'm not 100% sure on that. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and it does decent fuel economy numbers. I'll throw those up on the screen. It can tow up to 5,000 pounds, and it weighs just under 4,700 pounds. So kind of getting heavy, but it's still definitely a decent engine, but we'll talk more about that while we're on the drive. Thank you to Wheaton Honda West for letting me borrow this all-new Pilot. If you're on the hunt for the all-new Pilot and you're in the Calgary or even Alberta area, be sure to visit wheatonhondawest.ca, and they would be happy to help you out. Thank you once again for letting me borrow this vehicle. All right, time to step inside. Here's what the key fob looks like, the same as the other Honda models. It's nice, it feels nice in the hand. Remote start, which is standard here in Canada. So power folding mirrors as well, so that's nice to see. Keyless entry, of course, so you can put your hand behind the door handle, and it works for all 4 door handles, so that's nice, obviously. Let's start off with the door panel now. I really like how much versatility there is. There's a lot of space, like storage cubby over here, one over here, a bottle holder, and something for, I don't know, maybe whatever you want. This is nicely trimmed with authentic stitching. This is soft touch. And let me just make it wider here. Soft touch as well. Very interesting matrix looking material over here. You know, a shiny black plastic trim, but you know, I think it looks pretty nice overall. Fits the aesthetics. Your driver memory seats over here as well, which is with upper trims only. But let me step inside now. Oh, look at that nice little chime. So I'm going to start up the vehicle. There we go. So this is kind of how we start up here. Now let me start off with the steering wheel. Let's press OK here. Perfect. So the steering wheel is nicely leather wrapped. It's heated as well, which is standard up here in Canada. It's got nice clicky buttons as well, paddle shifters. It just feels really nice. Even the stitching over here looks very nice in my opinion. The display behind it here, it's the 10.2 inch from the new Civic that was first introduced. It's got pretty good resolution, especially in person, and you can customize it to have two different types of displays, including this is one of them, but you can't have your map or anything showing up over here. So it's kind of basic on that end, but it is digital at least. Lower trims do get a 7-inch TFT display, which I believe is the same as that Accord, the 2018 Accord that had that half digital, half analog display. So, but overall though, I really do enjoy the wheel and like the driver's area here, except for maybe the glossy black plastic, especially around the vents over there. Over there you do have other buttons like your trunk release, your wiper de-icer, and stability assist, and etc. Now let's move on to this, the 9-inch infotainment system. Overall, I do really enjoy it. I do, once again, I'm going to gripe that I think the top trim, or at least the upper trims, should have a 12.3 inch, the Accord top trim infotainment, which is much, you know, advanced and better looking in my opinion, but this definitely is usable. I'm not going to complain too much about it, but I think the top trim should have had the upgraded infotainment. Because it has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, wireless as well on top trims, wired on the base trim, and the Touring model even has surround view camera as well, right? So you get the front end angle over here, and then you got a 360 view, so that's definitely nice. And talking about cameras, let's look at the rear view. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I think Honda may have finally started upgrading their cameras. Maybe it's just me, but this one did look quite a bit more pixely compared to the Accord I had last week, for example. So it does look improved. And even the audio system, we got that nice Bose premium audio unit, 12 speakers up in the Touring trim here, 9 speaker in the mid trim, and 7 in the bass. It sounds beautiful. It sounds magnificent in my opinion. The airbag, the HVAC controls over here, the vents. HVAC controls, I personally love them because this is the top trim as well. We do have ventilated seats and heated seats, which are usually standard across the board here up in Canada. So, and then you have pretty nice feeling and clicky knobs, you know, hashtag save the knobs, you know I gotta say it. Your temperature select, it's tri-zone, which is standard of course, so nice to see, right? No, not really much to talk about because you just want to be quick with these things, and that's exactly what it does. Below that, you have a little bit of the storage cubby down here, USB-A, USB-C, and a 12 volt, and then you have a wireless charger, which is standard on upper trims, and then a little bit of a storage area for your wallet or whatever you want. And then you have the button shift selector down here. Pretty straightforward. We've seen that in Honda products for a long time now, especially upper end ones. You have your drive mode selector. You switch this and you'll get different drive modes. As you can see, we got quite a few, so that's nice to see. You have your electronic parking brake and also your brake hold, and nice spacious cup holders. Gloss black around here, which I don't like, but at least it's not over here, so it's got a nice matte material. The center console, pretty soft and nicely stitched as well. Open it up and you get a lot of space. No connectivity in there, no 12 volts or USBs, but a decent amount of space. Looks like it's about a foot deep as well. So, and alongside that, you also still have this open area, which I personally love how much space you have over here for versatility and just storage. And of course the door panel over there is going to look just as nice. You have LED lights, which is going to be, you know, awesome to see. And then you do have a panoramic roof. Let me open it up and show you. It's not standard, of course. It's on upper trims only, so only upper trims get this, but lower trims don't even get a regular sized sunroof, surprisingly. So I thought they would have done a smaller one and then a panel roof, but at least that's what the website was showing me. So maybe that may be incorrect, but as per the website, it's either the panel roof or nothing. But overall though, you know, I gotta say, it's a very nice cabin. I personally like this way more than the previous generation Honda Pilot. I think it's way more kind of sport utility looking, and I just think it looks nice. So I'm gonna set my seat to where I would be comfortable, and I'm gonna hop into that second row and show you how much space I have. All right, time for me to jump into the second row. Let me show you how much space I got. So the rear door panel looks exactly like the front, so that's nice to see. Authentic leather here with stitching, nice handle, that same matrix looking black plastic with the dots. This goes into hard touch, and this is soft touch at least, and then hard touch, but you still have a lot of space here. 2-tier storage area, probably even more cup holder space over here, and even sunshades for the rear doors, obviously, so that is nice. It's built in, so that's awesome to see. Now I'm gonna jump in. All right, so actually let me open the window or door, sorry, so you can see more. So I have the front seat set to pretty far back. Jimmy, press 1 there. Could you move it a little bit? Oh, there we go. Okay, so now this is where I would have my seat set if I was driving, and I'm 6'1" if you didn't know. If you're new, welcome. So I have a good amount of knee room over here. My feet are pretty comfortable, and headroom I have probably a good 2-3 inches as well. Now if you look down here, you are going to get heated seats in the second row, only for the outboards, obviously. So that is nice. Your climate control vents and climate control in general. You have another power outlet, your household power outlet, and a couple of USB-A's over there. So it's awesome to see some connectivity. And other than that, here are your seats. They look very, very nice. They're perforated just like the fronts. They have nice piping and stitching just like the fronts as well. And this over here can even fold down. So if I pull this, we'll have nice little captain row setup, a captain chair setup with a couple cup holders and some storage over here. And you know, overall, you can even remove this if you want to, or if you want to have somebody sitting there, you can do that as well. I forgot to talk about the front seats when I was at the front actually, so I apologize for that, but I'll tell you right now. So these seats, they are pretty adjustable. They're power from like all the trims. So the passenger is a 4-way power setup, and the driver, I believe, is a 10 or 12-way power setup. So it's nice to see, and you get leather on the touring trims only, and you can get even a brown color option if you get a black or a white exterior color, and that's it. But other than that, they're fairly comfortable, and I like how they're adjustable. And now you'll get leather only on the touring trims once again. There'll be leather front seats for EXL trims, and then leatherette on the back, and then the other ones do have a combination of you know, just regular leather. So I'll leave it at that over there. Now, since this is a 3-row vehicle, I'm going to go back into this third row and show you how much space I have back there. So I'll see you there. All right, time to jump into the third row. Honda does give you some accessibility to get in there pretty easily. You can press this button over here. You have a recliner but switch over here as well in case you want to sit more back. So it slides up the seat easily. And now I will jump into the third row, which I generally don't like going into, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Let's see. Okay, so the seat is clicked where it naturally would be. And I kind of can move my foot over here. So I'm underneath the second row, middle seat, and the far left seat. And you know, to be honest with you, I still have like an 1.5 inches of knee room, surprisingly. And even my headroom, I can say about 1.5 inches to 2 inches as well. So I'm very surprised that that is the case. First of all, that's pretty cool. Can an adult, 6'1", regular full-size adult sit back here? I would definitely say so, especially for even a long trip. And obviously it's the same for my mate beside me here. The seats aren't perforated, you know, you're not really gonna expect that, but they do have nice stitching. And overall, they have a nice recline to them, so they're not too weird looking. Now I'll show you this side. You get a couple cup holders back here, air vents, and even a USB plug on both sides. So whoever is going to be back here for you, you know they're going to have some air coming in, some fresh air, and some connectivity. Excuse me. I've been talking so much, man, like speed running this thing. But anyways, oh man, I could just literally chill here. But what I'm going to do is get this young man over here to start driving. Jimmy, look back here.
Bruh.
So we're gonna go for a drive now. It's the last thing we have left, and let's see what the new Pilot drives and how it is. All right, everybody, now it's time to drive the all-new 2023 Honda Pilot. It's a V6. I love it. That's already one good positive thing. I'm gonna put it in sport mode, and just to do a little acceleration test, see how easily it'll merge on for you and haul your family around. All right, are you ready? All right, so it's not the fastest thing, obviously, but definitely respectable acceleration for the size of this thing, and definitely for the class and category it's in. It's not a luxury vehicle, but the acceleration is definitely nice. And that V6, wow, that sounded nice. I'm sure you heard of it at least. This microphone should be working pretty well. But yeah, no, that was nice, wasn't it? So okay, let's start off with the overall Pilot, what we think about this. I personally think it looks absolutely beautiful outside, and inside too. It's a really well done. It's just a well done interior layout, and it's got great features, and the visibility is pretty good. The window in the back is awesome. The mirrors are large. Honda sensing is, at least in Canada here, is standard, so you get a lot of your blind spot displays and all that. And even if you have to look over to your passenger side, sure, your passenger side D-pillar there, A, B, C, D, is looking kind of rough because of the lack of visibility, but you know, it's not too bad in conjunction with your side mirror. Lots of features. It's super comfortable driving this thing. The outside road noise has been reduced, it seems like, as well, so that is something I love as well. The suspension and just the way this thing takes bumpy roads is definitely on the more comfortable side too. Even when you're going on the highway and you're going, you know, 100 kilometers per hour over here, it doesn't feel like you're going that fast, you know. It's very smooth. And sure, it's not going to have the same noise reduction in the cabin that a lot of luxury vehicles have, but definitely respectable. Now, I say all those things. At the same time, though, the reason they are as good, I think, is because of how much the new Pilot costs, right? At least here in Canada, the selling price, which includes usually your freight and PDI and all that, is around $52,000 in Canada. So pretty, man, it's interesting because I remember back in 2013, Pilot Tourings were getting close to, like, you know, 50 grand, and I'd be like, wow, you know, the Honda Pilot's gonna reach $50,000. That's crazy to think about. And now it starts at $52,000 here in Canada with your PDI and freight and transport fees and all that. So it's quite a bit. And that's for the sport trim over here in Canada, because we don't have the LX like the US does. I don't know why. Maybe most people don't buy that trim. Maybe that's why. Now, $52,000 is a lot of money. That directly converted is around 39,000 USD. So that's not too bad, right? But in America, the LX starts at around $36,000 USD. That's American pricing. That's MSRP. So I'm assuming that doesn't include freight and PDIs and all that. So quite a bit. And then top trims over here, the black edition, which is just the touring trim basically, but with accents blacked out. Think of it as a black package that luxury vehicles can get added onto. So the black edition here in Canada is around $65,000 basically as a selling price. That directly converted is around $48,000 USD from direct conversion. But the top trim Elite Pilot is $52,000 USD. So it's a little bit pricier in America, it seems like, according to the direct conversion, right? If you take this money, sorry, it's a little bit more cheaper here, and you know, because if you were to take that $52,000 and convert it directly to Canadian currency, it'd be more money. But pricing wise, it's getting pretty pricey, you know. This being in the mid $60,000 range now, you're getting pretty darn close to Acura MDX territory. And the MDX is a phenomenal vehicle as well. I really, really love driving around in that thing. I think it's a great vehicle. And it's the reason it's the #1 selling luxury 3-row SUV for a little while as well. And but the pricing wise, you know, you're getting close to luxury territory or premium territory. And but at the same time though, this definitely does feel like a premium vehicle when I'm driving it around. Just the way it drives, the way it looks, I guess the interior features are pretty nice as well. It's not anything cheesy looking. The previous generation was very round-ish and kind of like minivan looking, which I personally didn't like. And I'm so glad Honda went back to this rugged SUV-ish kind of look. But yeah, you know, is it a good value? That's a tough call. Personally, if I had to rate this all-new Pilot out of 10, I would give it a solid 9. I think the only really little thing that needs to work on is maybe an infotainment being bigger. But at the end of the day, that probably will happen with a mid-cycle refresh, and that will be at least 3 years away though, minimum, right? So in today's world, is this a good buy? I think it definitely should be at the top of your list if you're in the market for a family 3-row SUV. And definitely check this out. You know, do yourself a favor and check it out and see what you think of it. And yeah, you know, maybe you might like it, maybe you might not, but I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me today and watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.